Hey guys, this is Gene Jensen, and it is time for my MTB Slam for the month of November. All right, so basically what the MTB Slam is I go out and I catch fish on every lure in the box. I'm gonna do something a little bit different today. Actually, I've got a couple of things different today. I've got a cameraman, so it's gonna be a little bit more better quality. And the second thing is I'm not gonna do an unboxing. I'm basically gonna tie the baits on the rod, and I'm gonna teach about every single bait and try to catch a fish on every single bait at the same time. So that's how we're gonna go. Now there's a few changes that I'm gonna talk about today, changes with the mystery tackle box. The company. It's pretty cool. It's not going to affect you very much. It's just something that's different. And they've got a card in here I'm going to read and tell you guys about it. Anyway, let me tie them on some rods and get to fishing. All right, so the first bait is the Rattle Trap Echo. This one I saw several years ago. It's basically a square bill with the same exact rattles as a lipless crankbait, or the classic rattle trap. So I'm going to tie this onto a medium moderate action rod. It's a new one from 1-3 and go fishing with it. All right, so this one is in kind of an orange craw pattern. I'm tying it onto 12-pound test fluorocarbon. This happens to be Seagar. And I like to use an improved clinch knot with fluorocarbon. A lot of people tell you not to. The biggest thing is just make sure you tie it very carefully when you cinch it down. So what I do is I tie the knot, give it a good amount of spit, and then push it down with my thumb and pull the tag in tight. And it's ready to go. All right, so the best time to throw this is pretty much when the water temperature gets somewhere in the 60s all the way up through summer and back down through fall, and it drops down into the 50s, I'll stop throwing it again. But square bill is one of my favorite baits, or has become over the years one of my favorite baits to throw and to cover water with. Perfect search bait. This one dives between 3 and 5 feet deep. So I'm going to get up on the bank and just parallel the bank and try to pick off the active fish, the ones that are going to bite. And once I get bit, I'm going to slow down. I'm going to fish a soft plastic and try to catch some more. All right, so I'm just going to throw it out and just crank it back and feel. You want to feel that bait bumping into things. And when it bumps into something, you'll see me slow down a little bit with the reel. And I'm just trying to mimic something feeding off of whatever I'm bumping into. It's plain and simple. And one thing I love about crankbaits, or lipless crankbaits, is they come through the cover really, really well. You can bump them off of trees and bump them out of brush and things like that, and rip it out of grass. Oh my goodness, there's a fish on it. Anyway, rip it out of grass and catch a snot out fish, and he choked this thing. Man. Not even look. Oh, there we go. Not bad. He ate it pretty good. Pretty good. You notice the hook set, you don't really set it hard like you do a jig. You just kind of tighten up on it. There he goes. You just kind of tighten up on it and pull tight and let those hooks do the job. That's what I love about the moderate action rod, is it has a lot of give to it. That fish didn't fight very hard, but when they do fight hard, it allows you to keep those fish buttoned a whole lot better, and you don't lose them as much. So anyway, there it is, a little square bill by Rattle Trap. Excited to have that one in my box. All right, so I cut off the Rattle Trap square bill, and I picked up the Lucky Craft Pearl Threadfin Shad. Looks like it dives a little bit deep. I may have to fish a little bit different in these shallow waters, or go find some deeper water. The fish are all over these lakes, and so, or all over this lake. So we're gonna have to kind of finesse it a little bit. Putting it on the same rod, same line, same everything. Reel, the gear ratio on the reel, I forgot to mention, but the other one is a 6:6 to 1. So it's kind of what I like to crank with. If it's a deep crankbait that goes, 12 to 16, 20 feet deep. I'll go down to a 5-4 to 1 or a 5-3 to 1 ratio, but not on this one. So we'll tie it on real quick. All right, so I want you to notice something about this bait. It has the line tie on the bill, and it's designed to make it dive fairly deep and at a steeper angle. So you're gonna be, when your bait is swimming, it's gonna be swimming upright like this. That bill prevents that, that hook from getting hung into anything as you're going through. But what you wanna do is you wanna bounce the bottom with it. Make this thing look like a shad feeding on the bottom. So it's pap, 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 pap. And so you basically dive it down to bare bottom and then crank it really, really slow and make that bait just hop. Long cast, the longer the cast, the deeper it's gonna go, or the longer it's gonna stay at that maximum depth. So nice long cast. This rod loads up really well for these lighter baits. And then crank it really, really slow. It's like watching paint dry. And if I get into that grass line and get hung in the grass with a crankbait or a spinnerbait or most, see like there, I just popped into the grass, and I get grass on it and I no longer feel the vibration of that bait. You bring your rod up high, or not high, up about 10 o'clock, drop it to a slack line and give it two quick pops, and it rips it through a lot of different types of grass. Milfoil it'll pop through, and hydrilla is really easy to get that bait through. And a lot of times right after you hit that, pop that bait, that's when you're gonna get bit. You just scared the crap out of a bass, and it reaches up and grabs your bait. All right, so like I said, I'm bringing it right along the edge of the grass, the outside line of the grass. Got it hung in it, vibration. Okay, there's one right there. Golly. That crap, he's under the boat. You gotta, when they get under the boat like that, they can snag on the motor and the trolling motor. So you wanna drop that rod tip really, really low and fight them out. And then if you're gonna zigzag like this, especially with a crankbait, do it in big turns. Don't do it sharp, pop, pop, pop. You wanna do it in big turns like you're leading your dog around in circles. All right? Get them good and worn out. Get them to stop flopping so much. And bring them up. And that's it. Not bad. The Lucky Craft little crankbait thing, threadfin shad as they call it. The pearl threadfin shad. About a $16 bait. All right, so this next one I pulled out of the box is the Impact Lures flipping jig in black and blue. Put that in my pocket so the wind doesn't blow it off the boat. This is what it looks like. I'm gonna show you a close-up of this jig real quick. I saw this jig a couple of years ago. I think it was at the Bassmasters Classic Expo. It's got a weird looking little weed guard. And what that does is just a big thick piece of plastic, and when the fish bites, it just moves out of the way like this. And so pretty cool little idea. It is a very, very weedless jig, and then it just gets out of the way on the bite and you get a lot better positive hook set. It's your standard weedless jig head. I can't remember what they call these things, but anyway, really good flipping jig. I'm gonna tie it onto a medium heavy 7'5" medium heavy jig rod, 20-pound test fluorocarbon line. The water here is a little bit clear. Plus I don't really want to put braided line on there right now. I'm feeling a little bit lazy. And then I'm gonna go find a trailer and put a trailer on there. Now I do like green pumpkin trailers on black and blue jigs. I don't know why I've always had better success that way, but I do. So the trailer I chose was a Rage DB Craw is what it was. I just had a bag of them laying right there. Didn't bother digging for anything else. The only thing I don't like about it is you've got to take that little collar off in order to put the trailer on, and then it's kind of not really difficult, but it's just a little bit more work to get it back on. But it went on pretty good. Let's go flip it around. All right, so these conditions are not ideal for flipping jigs, mainly because the wind puts a bow in your line and it makes it very difficult to feel the bite. So you really got to pay really close attention if you decide to flip in these type of conditions. See what I mean? All right, so what I've got here is some deep grass. Flip in, I just let it sink. I'm gonna shake it on the bottom. The bottom of this lake is a little soft. There's a lot of junk on the bottom, so I don't keep it down there for very long. Then I bring it back up to the surface, shake it a couple of times, and you're just gonna work the whole area just like this. And if you find that you get bit on the fall, you know, 2 times, like I always say, 1 fish is luck, 2 fish is a pattern. If you get bit the same way 2 times, that's what you want to keep concentrating on. So if I bring it up to the surface and shake it just underneath the grass mat and I get bit twice, that's what I'm going to do the rest of the time until they tell me otherwise. And that just means they're up at the upper part of the grass mat. Throw it in there, let it sink. Pay close attention to my line, especially in this kind of weather. Work it through that thick stuff. All right, so you can have a couple of different types of bites when you're doing this. A lot of times they'll bite it on the initial fall, and when you immediately pick up, you'll feel weight or resistance, and they just won't move. They'll just be sitting there. So that's something you really got to be ready for. And then a lot of times they just crush it. You drop it in there, you shake it once, bam, you feel the hit, and just lower down on them and set the hook hard. So if I was to do that and I flip it in there, let it fall to the bottom, get bit, shake it once, and I'm gonna hammer home because I wanna turn that fish out of that grass and get him out of the grass before he wraps me up is the biggest thing. So it's kind of like full contact stuff. I prefer doing this with 65-pound braid, but like I said, I really don't want to switch up and find a 65-pound braid, and it's just, I ain't got time for that. Fish are biting right now. So anyway, let's jump in there and see if I can find something. There's one. Oh my gosh. Oh, we got to go in and get him. He's sitting there fighting. And they will wrap you in this grass, I'm telling you. Well, he came out there. Not bad, look at that. Gotta be careful here in Florida, gators. Not bad on that jig. Pretty little fish. Man. Where are the big ones at though? Love catching them on a jig. Absolutely. All right, so this one is the Mad Yabby from River to Sea. It says it's ultra durable creature bait, which it is really a stiff, soft plastic, and they have a lot of appendages, so it still keeps its action, a lot of thin appendages. But yeah, you can tell the difference between this soft plastic and others. So I'm just Texas rigging it or putting it on kind of a flipping rig. This is a 3/8 ounce tungsten weight. A Mustad grip pin hook, one of my favorite flipping hooks. And I'm just gonna Texas rig it in the wind. Yeah, you can tell this is tough plastic. I wonder how hard it's gonna be to get a hook set in the fish. We're gonna find out, hopefully. These fish are all shallow and eating, so I'm excited about today. They're biting good, and they're biting anything I'm throwing at them. Except when I wrap their line about around the hook. There we go. Just make sure you bury that hook in there. Don't let it come out the tip, come out the other side, or you're just gonna be pulling grass off of it all day. Just like that. Now, I went over and I snagged Matt's rod, or my cameraman's rod. You guys know Matt, he does my editing. But he has 30-pound smackdown braid on a 7'3" medium heavy extra fast rod. This is another one of those new 1-3 rods that are coming out this month. Really like them. Anyway, all right, let's go fishing. All right, so just like the flipping jig, very difficult to feel the bite in the wind. But I'm just flipping into this sparse cover or into this sparse grass. It's not really thick grass. That's why I don't need a heavy weight, just enough to get it through and get it underneath the grass. and I'm just gonna work it out of the grass. I'm gonna throw it in. This is a creature bait, got a lot of things going on when it's falling in the water, so I want it to be falling or moving a lot. You know, we waited till the sun came up. I'm in an area of this lake that the fish are just stacked in here. And so I'm just hitting those high percentage targets where the fish are gonna be laid up in the shade, out of the sun. You got the duckweed, you know, creating a little bit of shade. I'm close to deep water where the bait fish are. And so I kind of want to stay in that type of an area today and just skip up underneath these trees. So I flipped into that bush right there and caught a big old mudfish. There it is, a mudfish. We also call them a grunnel or a bowfin. A lot of fun to catch. Not to be confused with a snakehead. Snakeheads have flat faces. Pretty cool. Fight like the dickens. I'll take one of those any day. All right, so this is going to be a challenge. This is a 3/16 ounce football head shaky head from Charlie's Worms. They call it the football shaky head. So it's a little light. I'm going to see what I can do with it. So I'm going to put a big worm on it. Windy days, this kind of stuff, you just want something heavy. And this is the Buddha Bait Company. I think it's called the Big Worm. So we're gonna shaky head a long ribbon tail green pumpkin worm. And boy, that smells like garlic. So first thing I'm gonna do, I've got it on a medium action rod. The reason I have it on a medium fast action rod is because I don't want to bend the hook out. This is a thin wire hook. You get a heavier action rod than that, you're liable to bend the hook out on the hook set and lose your fish. So anyway, this heavy worm is gonna have a weird fall too. It'll be tough to fish. We'll see if we can catch something on it. See those three little turns like that? Now, if I was serious about fishing this for a long period of time, I'd cut 2 of those little turns off. That's actually too much of a screw lock for that. It leaves just that tiny little gap right there for the fish's mouth to get into. So note to the company, cut down to just 2 little turns on that screw. You'll widen that gap up and the people will catch more fish. Anyway, so we screw it on there. Now another thing, a lot of people want to Texas or Texpose this thing. With a shaky head like this, I just lay it along the side to see where it's gonna go in. I go to that spot, I stick it in, and then I just pull down on the worm and pull up on the jig head. And just leave that completely buried and just make sure I set the hook really, really hard. That's it. All right, so with a little added color, I like green pumpkin this time of year, but I almost always, especially when they're feeding on bluegill and baitfish and things like that, dip a little bit of any tail, anything green pumpkin, I dip a little bit of the tail in chartreuse, good old chartreuse JJs, or whatever chartreuse dye that you use. All right, fishing a shaky head. Shaky head is kind of one of those, I call it a cheater bait. When the bite is tough, you throw on a little bitty worm, you throw it on a spinning rod, you cast it out there, you shake it around. I like to fish them on a medium action or medium light action spinning rod. But I don't want to fish light line in this type of cover. You know, we got milfoil, we got brush, that's where the fish are, and I don't want to fish it in that kind of cover. I thought I had a bite, but it was in the grass. You throw it down, let it sink to the bottom, and then shake it on a slack line. Of course, with the wind blowing, this is not a technique you want to do because you can't feel the bites. And a lot of times your bait is so light that the wind will, you know, blow your line over and move your bait, and it just doesn't work. So my confidence in this one right now with the conditions I'm fishing is not very high. But I'm gonna pitch into some heavy cover, fish it like I would a jig, get it down to the bottom, shake it, get that worm moving, shake it some more, and then just kind of hop it and shake it and just move it around. And I'm just gonna throw into whatever cover I see on this bank. Okay, all right, so what I was doing is I was bringing it out of that tree, and as soon as I got it out of that tree, oh, Oh, big girl jumped on it. Awesome. Little shaky head. I didn't have any confidence in that thing. Look at that fish. Oh, thank you, big girl. That is not a big fish for this lake, but it's a decent one. And ladies and gentlemen, that's my MTB slam. It is awesome. All right, so this month you'll notice that in your box, when you guys get your box, there's not a mystery tackle box sticker. There's a sticker that says Catch Co on it. And let me read a card that's in there for any of you guys who are not subscribed to mystery tackle box or just don't understand what's going on. This has been something that's been in the works for quite some time. I've known about it, just kind of sat back and waited for it to happen. And it says, "Dear MTB subscribers, we are excited to announce that we'll be introducing a new company brand, the Catch Company." Why the new name? It's simple. We plan to be more than just your monthly happy dance or monthly subscription box. We will be expanding the products and services we offer, and the name Mystery Tackle Box just won't do them justice. So it's gonna be pretty cool, some of the things that they're doing. Wait and see that. It says, but don't worry, Mystery Tackle Box and Mystery Tackle Box Pro are not going anywhere. They'll remain products under the Catch Co brand, and there's nothing that you need to do, and there will be no changes to your existing subscription plan. It says, keep an eye out for the new Catch Co branding and some new offerings in the coming months. Ross Gordon, founder and CEO. Pretty cool. I'm kind of excited about it. It's going to be a pretty neat little thing to see grow over the next few years. So the Catch Company, pretty neat. If you're interested in Mystery Tackle Box, they have a $15 a month subscription deal, and then for an upgrade of $9.99, you can get the MTB Pro, which has better, bigger, better, more expensive baits in it. So pretty neat little deal. Check it out. I'll leave the link to their website down in the description, and you can get your first $15 box for $4.99. Just use the code GET499. Pretty neat little deal. Well, like I always say, be sure to introduce somebody to fishing. Introduce them to my channel. Let me help you teach them how to fish. More importantly, get out on the water, go out and catch some fish, and have a great day.